والنجم إذا هوى ما ضل صاحبكم وما غوى.
This, by the way, down the road, this is what happened with a lot of denominations of Christianity. A lot of denominations. I was very fascinated with American Christianity because it has so many branches. And one of them, I was fascinated for a while with Joel Osteen. You guys know who Joel Osteen is? Okay, well, he's from Houston. He's a preacher, very famous, right? So I went to one of Joel Osteen's Christmas specials just to see what he does. I just want to experience the thing. And he took a passage from the Bible where there was the Lord sent dew. Dew means like the morning misty moisture on the leaves and things. That's called dew. He goes, and the Lord said, there shall be dew. So this year you're gonna have your dew. And then he starts doing everybody like your job's gonna work out this year because the Lord's gonna give you dew. And that divorce, oh, it's finally gonna finish, and you're not gonna have to pay no lawyers no more. That's your due. And I was sitting in the crowd, and all the people's like, this is my year of due. You know, this was like everybody's buying into it. You know what he's doing? He's taking something from the Bible, he's coming up with this like fantastic thing, and everybody's singing along. You know what that is? That's his version of tadabbur without any what? Any tafsir. Right? But on the flip side, whoa, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said this, Ibn Kathir said this, Qurtubi said this, Tabari said this, so you shut up. You know what that is? I'm going to quote everybody. I have all this information. Now there's no need for what? There's no need for tadabbur. My group, I'm part of a group of researchers, students of Quran. We study Quran together, and we've developed a formula. We start with tafsir. We study the tafsir, and then we engage in what? Tadabbur. We engage in as much tadabbur as we can. And we ask ourselves hard questions. And you're going to see a combination of tafsir and tadabbur in this series. In what surah are we studying again? Remind me. Surah An-Najm. Okay. Now, there are the approach to the study of the Quran. That is a fusion between tafsir and tadabbur and some other elements. I have my own method for studying it. As you go through the study of the surah with me, you're going to see my method in practice. So instead of me talking in theory about my method, you'll kind of see it in practice, and you'll see how everything comes together, inshallah ta'ala. But one thing I do want to tell you, because Surah An-Najm is a Makki surah, right? So we'll talk a little bit about Makki surahs. In Juz Amma, most of the surahs, if not all of them, are what? They're Makkiyat, they're Makki surahs, right? Now, if somebody asks you, what is the subject of Makki surahs? You'll say, they talk about Allah. They talk about His signs in creation. They talk about previous nations that were destroyed. They talk about some stories of the prophets. They definitely talk about Judgment Day and heaven and hell. That's pretty much Makkan surahs, right? Makkan surahs have these 5-6 subjects, right? So if you open up Surah Al-Dukhan, it's going to be one of these. If you open up Surah Al-Jathiyah, it's going to be a few of these. If you open up Surah Qaf, it's going to be a few of these. If you open up Surah Al-Naba, it's going to be a few of these. It's the same 5-6 items, and they keep coming up. So then the question becomes, they're kind of all the same. This one's about Judgment Day. What's this one about? Judgment Day. What's that one about? Let me tell you. Judgment Day. And you're like, they're all talking about the same thing. They keep repeating the same stuff. Oh, this one has Allah's creations. This one also has Allah's creations. And this one also has, oh my God, Allah's creations. And if you just begin to read the Quran, especially the Makki surahs of the Quran, you'll start noticing there's a lot of repetition. There's a lot of what they call in English literature redundancy over and over and over again, right? And so what happens with tafsir, here's the fun part, tafsir scholars, when they come upon an ayah, and they've already talked about an ayah similar to that one before, they say, قَدْ سَبَقَ ذِكْرُهُ. We've already talked about this. You can look it up in that surah, right? Because it's not a new tafsir question. It's not a new question. The problem with this approach, it's not a wrong approach, but it's missing something. And I want to tell you what it's missing. The Quran, each surah is a perfect gift sent from Allah. Each one of them is a unique gift from Allah. No surah of the Quran is extra. Do you believe that? We believe that, all of us, right? No surah of the Quran is superfluous. We could, I could have lived without Surah An-Naba. Takwir was enough. No, that's not the case. Every single surah is part of the perfect divine gift from Allah. Nobody says, I have two hands, one of them's just extra. Nobody says that. In Allah's creation, we don't consider anything extra. We don't say the sun's good enough, the moon, I don't know. We don't do that. One ocean was enough. I don't know why we need the rest of them. We don't do that. But you know what we do with surahs of the Quran sometimes? Makki surahs. We don't say it because we have respect for the Quran, but unfortunately, even Quran students, tafsir students are thinking it. They're thinking it. And that's a bigger problem. So what we're going to do, I'm going to explain this with an analogy and then we'll get started after Isha. I got to keep track of time too, my goodness. Oh, I have 13 minutes, so good. I have good time. I want to give you a simple analogy. You guys know what Legos are? Okay, Legos. Imagine I have like a bucket of Legos, yellow, blue, different sizes, right? And I have 5 of these buckets, but they all have the same exact set of Legos, right? They all have the same 5, 6 colors, all these different variations, all of them. And I give these Legos to 5 very creative kids. Are they going to create the same thing? No. The pieces are all the same. But when it was all put together, it was this one made a robot, this one made a dinosaur, this one, Okay, you go to an architect. They're using brick, they're using wood, they're using metal, they're using sheetrock. But when they put it together, you're like, brick, I've seen that before. No, you're like, that's an amazing building. Oh my God, that's incredible. The way they use this window, the way they use that door. Oh my God, the way they use that angle. It's so incredible. Nobody comes and says, that's just sheetrock, right? I have that in my house too. Nobody does that. Why? Because it's being used in a unique way, isn't it? In fact, the way Allah made us, our genetic sequence, essentially the fundamental components of our genome are the same. And it's just a rearrangement of that makes us different human beings, doesn't it? At the end of the day. What I'm trying to say is every surah, even though it has components that other surahs have, has a unique signature, a unique fingerprint, a unique identity, a unique divine artistic expression, a unique beauty. And if you don't come to it with that attitude and you say, oh, it's just another Makki surah, oh, it's saying the same thing again, tadabbur is closed. Because tadabbur happens when someone comes to the majesty of Allah's speech, they come to it in awe. People, when I travel, sometimes people want to take me to historical sites, right? When you go to like a historical castle or a presidential palace or whatever, at the door, people are taking selfies, are like, whoa. They have this like awe. What I want me to have, when I approach the doors, the entrance of a surah of the Quran, I want to be in awe. I want to have reverence. I'm entering something divine. I'm entering something that traveled through 7 heavens. I'm entering something that's more powerful, that travels fast through the 13.9 billion year universe. It traveled through the billion light year universe. It traveled across that and came to this man, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and transformed the entire world. I need to have the right kind of attitude in my heart when I approach a surah. So you're not here. My point is, you're not here, and I'm not here to give you lots and lots of information, even though we'll go through a lot of information. The point of it is something Allah says Himself. He says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Don't they contemplate deeply over the Quran, or are their hearts something that have their own locks, or some hearts have their own locks on them? What that means is, tafsir gives you ilm, but tadabbur unlocks the heart. 2 different goals. Tafsir will expand your understanding. It'll give you concepts. It'll help you deepen your your depth of knowledge. But then if tadabbur is missing, then the heart stays locked, even you have a lot of knowledge. And that's why Allah gave the example of people that came before us who had a book and they had a lot of knowledge of that book. But Allah says, فَقَسَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ, their hearts became hard. Even though other places it says, مِن بَعْدِ مَا عَقَلُوهُ, even after they understood it. Because understanding, in our case, understanding the Quran is the tafsir question. But tadabbur is where the heart gets unlocked. You with me? So we're going to have to merge between those two. And part of that is I have to approach the surah with humility. I have my own usul tadabbur, like usul tafsir, there's usul tadabbur, right? My own usul tadabbur are, when I start the study of a surah, I assume I know nothing. I've been trying to study the Quran for 23 years now. When I started restudying Surah An-Najm to prepare for this program 3 weeks ago, I assumed I've never read it before, I know nothing about it, and I'm going to just dive in and I'm going to ask whatever questions come in my mind, and I'm going to document my questions and discuss and read and discuss and read and ask questions, because I want to understand what Allah is saying to me above and beyond the tafsir. You with me? So that's the approach we're going to take.